Far Cry peaked more than a decade ago, and it hasn't been the same since Far Cry 3. I know, bold claim, but hear me out. This isn't just nostalgic talking. This is about how one game completely redefined open-world shooters and why every Far Cry since has been chasing that same high and missing. Let's talk about it. Now, I get it. Saying Far Cry 3 is the peak of the series is gonna ruffle some feathers. After all, Far Cry 4, 5, and 6 sold millions of copies, earned massive fan bases, and are still praised for their freedom, chaos, and gorgeous worlds. But here's the thing. I've played every single Far Cry game since the very first one, and I've spent hundreds of hours in these worlds. I've experienced the highs, the lows, and the just okay middles. And I realized this debate isn't just about which Far Cry is best. It's about how the series has evolved, where it found its soul, and how it may have slowly lost it over the years. Far Cry 3 wasn't just another entry. It was a turning point in the franchise, a cultural moment in gaming, and in my opinion, the benchmark that every sequel has failed to surpass. To really understand why I think Far Cry peaked with 3, we need to look at the whole series. Far Cry 1, released in 2004, was a very different beast, more of a tech showcase for Crytek, with large maps, open combat, and a focus on tactical shooting. It was fresh, but it didn't yet have the identity the series is known for today. Far Cry 2 in 2008 took a bold step into realism. Gritty African setting, weapon jamming, malaria mechanics, a more grounded tone. Some loved its ambition, others found it frustrating, but it was definitely unique. Then in 2012, Far Cry 3 hit, and everything changed. Ubisoft nailed the formula, an exotic open world full of danger and freedom, a memorable villain in Vaas, a strong narrative hook, and a satisfying loop of exploration, combat, and progression. It struck the perfect balance between accessibility and depth. Far Cry 4 in 2014 kept that formula almost exactly, swapping the island for the Himalayan region of Kyrat. It was fun, but it felt like deja vu. Far Cry 5 in 2018 moved to rural Montana, added co-op, and leaned into the cult leader villain, but the core gameplay loop? Nearly identical. Far Cry 6 in 2021 went bigger and louder in a fictional Caribbean nation with stunning visuals, but still followed the same blueprint laid down in 3. So Far Cry 3 isn't just another game in the series, it's the blueprint. The problem is, after that blueprint was created, Ubisoft stopped evolving it in meaningful ways. Let's start with the obvious, the story and the villain. Far Cry 3 didn't just give us a bad guy, it gave us Vaas Montenegro, one of the most unforgettable characters in gaming history. He wasn't just evil for the sake of being evil, he was unpredictable, unstable, and deeply human in a way that was terrifying to witness. Every time Vaas appeared on screen, you didn't know if he was going to threaten you, joke with you, or shoot you on the spot. That unpredictability kept players on edge in a way no Far Cry villain since has matched. Michael Mandel's performance was a huge part of it. He brought Vaas to life with a raw, almost theatrical energy. The now iconic definition of insanity monologue is still quoted by gamers over a decade later. Vaas wasn't just a character in the story, he was the story. He embodied the madness and danger of the Rook Islands and gave the game an emotional weight that elevated everything around it. Now, don't get me wrong, later antagonists had their strengths. Pagan Min in Far Cry 4 was stylish, charming, and manipulative. Joseph Seed in Far Cry 5 brought a creepy, calm, cult leader vibe, and Anton Castillo in Far Cry 6, played by Giancarlo Esposito, oozed authority and menace. But here's the thing, they all felt like variations on a template created with Vaas. Charismatic leader, personal philosophy, looming presence. It's as if Ubisoft has been trying to recapture that magic ever since.
Back in 2012, critics and fans alike called Vaas one of gaming's greatest villains. He made the Game Awards' best character list, and even people who didn't finish the game remember him vividly. That kind of impact is rare, and it's one of the reasons Far Cry 3 still stands out as the series' high point.
Now, let's talk about the setting, because Far Cry 3's world wasn't just a backdrop, it was an experience. The moment you stepped onto the Rook Islands, you felt like you were in a living, breathing paradise.
That just happened to be full of pirates, wild animals, and danger around every corner. The tropical sun, the dense jungles, the crystal blue waters, it was vibrant, exotic, and deadly all at once. Back in 2012, this atmosphere felt fresh. We'd seen shooters and deserts, cities, and war zones, but a lush tropical island filled with freedom and chaos? That was new territory. It wasn't just about fighting enemies, it was about exploring, hunting, crafting, and surviving. The first time you hunted a shark for its skin or stumbled into a kimono dragon ambush, it felt unpredictable in the best way. The mechanics at the time also felt exciting. Climbing radio towers to reveal the map was a novelty, not a chore. Taking over outposts gave you a real sense of ownership over the island. Even the crafting system, where you upgraded gear by hunting specific animals, tied you into the world in a way that felt purposeful. Compare that to later games. Yes, Far Cry 4's Himalayan mountains were gorgeous, Far Cry 5's Montana had a gritty realism, and Far Cry 6's Yara offered a colorful Caribbean flair. But none of them hit the same blend of danger and discovery that the Rook Islands had. Later settings often felt like reskins of the same open-world formula, where you knew exactly what to expect. Climb towers, clear out outposts, craft gear, repeat. With Far Cry 3, you didn't know what was around the next bend in the jungle. That feeling of freshness, of genuine unpredictability, is a big reason why I believe it remains the most iconic entry in the series. Finally, let's dig into the gameplay loop, because Far Cry 3 nailed a balance that kept players hooked for hours. The upgrade and crafting systems were simple but brilliant. If you wanted a bigger ammo pouch, you had to hunt the right animal. If you wanted better gear, you had to explore dangerous areas. Every improvement to your character felt earned, not just handed to you. Then there was the freedom of approach. You could storm an outpost with grenades and an LMG going full chaos mode, or sneak in with a bow and silently take down every guard without raising an alarm. The game didn't punish you for picking one style over the other. It rewarded creativity. That choice made each encounter feel different even when the objective was technically the same. And let's not forget how exploration was tied to progress. Climbing radio towers wasn't just busy work, it genuinely opened up new opportunities and revealed the map in a way that made you want to keep going. Side quests and hidden collectibles felt like discoveries, not chores. Fast forward to the later games, and here's where things start to fall apart for me. The loop became predictable. Open the map, see dozens of icons, and start checking them off one by one. It's what a lot of players now call the Ubisoft formula. Yes, Far Cry 4, 5, and 6 refined certain mechanics, but they also doubled down on this checklist-style design that strips away that sense of wonder. It became less about what might happen, and more about what you already know will happen. In Far Cry 3, every outpost, every hunting trip, every detour felt like part of an adventure. In the later entries, it often feels like work. Polished fun work at times, but still work. And that's a big reason why, for me, the magic peaked with 3. Alright, here's where you come in. Prove me wrong. If you think Far Cry 4, 5, or 6 truly outshines 3, drop your best argument in the comments. I'm not just looking for "you're wrong." I want solid points, personal stories, or even stats. And if you make a strong enough case, I'll feature your comment in the next episode and give you full credit. If you enjoyed this debate, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments. I'm ready to hear your take. Change my mind.